In 1928, there was no modern national university anywhere in the whole of West Africa. Not one. In Nigeria, if your family had money, you sent your child abroad for a degree, a ship ticket, a scholarship, and a small fortune most households in the country could simply not afford. One young teacher had none of that. No wealthy family bankrolling a voyage to England. No classroom, no lecturer, no campus of any kind. So, he built his own path. Every night, after a full day of teaching other people's children, he sat by his Upaka lantern and studied for a British university degree entirely through the mail, graded by strangers he would never meet, with nothing checking his progress but the postman. He passed a full bachelor's degree with honors and without ever setting foot in a lecture hall. And then he did something even more audacious. He built a school of his own, brick by brick, with no permission from the colonial government, and spent the next 4 decades forcing an empire that never intended to fully educate Africans to change how an entire nation learns. This is the story of the man who taught himself and brought private education into existence. Alvan Ikoku was born on the 1st of August 1900 in a village called Amanagu in Arochukwu, deep in what is now known as Abia State. He was born into a wealthy merchant family, but he arrived into the world 3 months after his father had left it. That timing shaped the name his family gave him, Azenna, a name that carried a father's memory forward into a son who would never meet him. He started at Arochukwu Government Primary School in 1911 and in 1915 moved to Hope Waddell Training Institute in Calabar, a school that at the time was producing some of the sharpest young minds in the region. Ikoku sat in classrooms alongside boys who would themselves become towering figures in Nigerian history. Akanubiam and Eyo Eswa, both future leaders in their own right. But it was a single lecture in 1920 that changed the direction of his entire life. A visiting Ghanaian educator named James Emmanuel Kwega Aggrey, known across West Africa simply as Aggrey of Africa, stood in front of Ikoku's class and told them something most colonial schooling system never said out loud, that Africans had a role to play as equals, shaping their own continent, and that role required full, uncompromising education. Ikoku didn't just listen, he decided in that room to become a graduate like the man speaking to him. But there was just one problem. There was no university in Nigeria for him to attend, and no money in his household to send him abroad for education. In 1920, Ikoku took his first teaching post with the Presbyterian Church of Scotland at a place called Itigidi. 2 years later, he became a senior tutor at St. Paul's Teachers Training College in Awka. He was, by every measure, already a respected educator. But he still wanted that degree, and with no university within reach, he did something few of his peers dared to attempt. He enrolled in a correspondence course through the Normal Correspondence College in England, studying an entire university curriculum by mail, with no lecturer in the room, no classmates to lean on, working by Mpanaka a form of lantern, after his teaching duties were done. In 1923, he passed the London matriculation examination, the entry qualification required. Then he kept going. In 1928, while still teaching in Awka, Ikoku sat for and passed the Bachelor of Arts honors degree of the University of London in philosophy. He wasn't the first Nigerian to hold a university degree. A small number of Nigerians, mostly from wealthier families able to send their children abroad, had already been earning degrees in Britain since the 1800s. What made Ikoku's achievement remarkable wasn't being first, it was the method. He never left Nigeria. He never sat in a lecture hall. He built a British honors degree entirely by post, while working full-time, funded by nothing but his own discipline. A teacher with no access to a university had worked out a system that assumed people like him needed one. Ikoku didn't stay in the classroom as a subordinate for long. In 1931, he resigned from his post as a supervisor of mission schools. The following year, 1932, he opened something rare in Nigeria at the time, the Aggrey Memorial College in Arochukwu, named without hesitation after the man whose single lecture had redirected his life. It began modestly as a school for training teachers. By 1935, it had grown into a full secondary school, and it is widely credited across multiple independent historical accounts as the first indigenous privately funded secondary school in Nigeria, not a mission school run by foreign administrators. A Nigerian-built, Nigerian-run institution created by a man the colonial system had never formally certified to build one. He would remain its principal for close to 39 years. And one beautiful thing, Ikoku didn't just teach from books. He introduced carpentry as a core subject, something he called the education of the hand. His students didn't just study furniture making in theory. They built their own desks, their own chairs, their own bookshelves, and used them joyfully every day. Education for Ikoku was never meant to be an abstraction. It was meant to put tools directly into the African hands. He would run that college for nearly 4 decades. By the 1940s, constitutional reforms were slowly allowing more Nigerians into the machinery of colonial government. In 1946, Ikoku was nominated to the Eastern Nigeria House of Assembly and placed in the Ministry of Education. A year later, in 1947, he became one of the only 3 representatives of the Eastern region in the Legislative Council in Lagos. One man carrying the educational concerns of an entire region into the seat of colonial power. He used that position as a weapon for the classroom through his work with the Nigerian Union of Teachers, where he would go on to become the national president in 1955. Ikoku helped to push 44 separate proposals through the Legislative Council, amending the ordinances that governed how Nigerian children were educated. But the biggest fight met the hardest wall. Throughout the 1950s, Ikoku and the NUT pushed for something that sounds obvious today: a uniform education system for Nigeria, a free primary education for every child. The colonial government rejected it repeatedly for years. He didn't get to see that fight won. Independence came in 1960. Around 1962, as a member of the Eastern House of Assembly, Ikoku helped drive forward what would become the foundation of free primary education policy in the newly independent nation. It would take until 1976 5 years after his death, for that vision to be formally adopted nationwide by the federal government, he planted a policy he would never live to see fully bloom. After politics, Ikoku didn't retire from public life. He redirected it. He served on the West African Examination Council, WAEC. He sat on the governing council of the University of Ibadan. He chaired the board of governors of Aviation Training Center. In 1965, that same University of Ibadan awarded him an honorary doctorate of laws at a special convocation held in recognition of a life spent building the very education system the university itself now stood on top of. The contributions to education earned him the Order of the British Empire, OBE, though, notably, some of his contemporaries criticized him at the time for being too closely aligned with the very colonial establishments it spent decades quietly outmaneuvering. He married Gomsu, an Efik woman from Calabar, and the couple raised 6 children together. He died on the 18th of November 1971 at Aba General Hospital at the age of 71. Today, his name is carried by the Alvan Ikoku Federal University of Education in Owerri, a teacher training college he inspired that has since grown into a full-fledged federal university, still training Nigerian teachers under his name. Nearly a century after he sat alone with a lantern and a stack of mail order courseworks. In 1975, that same institution became the first in Nigeria to establish a full-fledged Igbo language department, carrying his commitment to indigenous language education forward, decades after the NUT first tried and failed to make it a national policy. Since 1979, the Central Bank of Nigeria has also carried his portrait on the 10 naira note, a smaller and quieter honor next to the university that carries his actual life's work forward. There is one more detail worth knowing. His own son, Samuel Gomsu Ikoku, grew into a prominent Nigerian politician and trade unionist, and on the 15th of March 1957 defeated his own father in the Eastern Regional Assembly election. Even in political defeat, Alvan Ikoku's legacy simply changed hands with his own family and kept moving forward. A boy who arrived 3 months too late to meet his father built an entire university degree out of borrowed books and a hurricane lamp. A teacher the colonial system never fully trusted with power built one of the first Nigerian-funded secondary schools in the country. A man who spent 30 years being told no by the government he served eventually forced that same government to give every Nigerian child what he once had to build for himself alone by lamplight. No university opened its doors to him, so he built his own path to one by mail, by lantern, by will alone. Then he built a school for everyone who came after him. That is a story no banknote could ever fully tell. And that is the story of Alvan Ikoku. If you enjoyed watching this beautiful documentary, kindly hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment for us. Let us know what you think about the contributions of Alvan Ikoku to the educational development of Nigeria, and most importantly, the Eastern region. Thanks for watching this video. My name once again is Prince Onwadenim Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune, and I will see you in my subsequent videos. Bye-bye.